Elon Musk just shook up the AI industry by launching Grok 3, what he calls, quote, the smartest AI on Earth. And you want to pay attention to this because as technology is evolving, not only is it getting smarter, but it's also moving faster, which changes the economy, but it also moves markets. Back in 2022, that was when OpenAI launched ChatGPT to the public. And that was the first time that the average person got a taste of real artificial intelligence, which changed technology, it changed the economy, and it definitely moved markets. DeepSeek, the Chinese competitor of ChatGPT, launched in 2023, but most people had no idea what it was until just a few weeks ago in 2025. And when DeepSeek got all that publicity in 2025, markets moved. Nvidia stock fell by more than 16% in just one day because of worries that potentially DeepSeek could bankrupt ChatGPT and that would hurt Nvidia. But this is where, again, these new technologies, with now Elon Musk entering the game with Grok 3, all these things have implications in the economy. They have implications in markets, which is what you as a financially savvy investor want to pay attention to. And this is why some people are saying that the AI game is a bubble. Well, they're right. Everything is a bubble at some point. When the internet bubble burst in 2000, some internet companies went bust. A lot of internet companies went to zero. But the internet didn't go away. The bad companies did. And when technology evolves and it moves faster, you start to see these shifts up and down. You see the wild swings up and down. And AI is moving a lot faster than the internet. So you bet that there are going to be some companies that see a lot of gains. And there are going to be other companies that lose everything because they're not able to keep up with the times and they're not able to keep up with the technologies. And it affects every different piece of our economy. For example, let's take a look at Bitcoin and the blockchain. Now, I don't want to go too deep into this because there's a lot of different points to this discussion. If you want me to make a whole video on this, let me know. But the next generation of technology called quantum computing, some people are saying that quantum computing is so fast and it's so smart that it has the ability to potentially break the blockchain and essentially break Bitcoin. Will that happen? Only time will tell. But this goes to show how fast technology is evolving and how fast things are moving. This is why on March 11th, 2025, I'm hosting my free live and virtual wealth building workshop because a lot of things are changing in 2025 and I'm going to be going over how this change in the economy, things like tariffs, things like Doge, things like the Trump economic policies, and things like technology and AI create new and unique investment opportunities. I'm going to be going over some of the changes that we're seeing happen and how these create potential wealth building opportunities. It's a completely free workshop. If you'd like to join, all you have to do is save your spot. I have the link down in the description, and I'm doing it twice on March 11th. One in the morning at 10:30 a.m. and then again in the evening at 8 p.m. So if you want to join, I have the link for you down in the description below. That way you can secure your spot. Now, the other part to AI that you have to understand is its impact on the economy, specifically jobs. Because there are going to be certain jobs that do get replaced with AI, and there are going to be certain jobs that get benefited through a hybrid of AI work. We might remember that a few months ago, there was a lot of things going on with port strikes. A lot of workers were striking because they said they don't want automation to take their jobs. They don't want AI to take their jobs. Well, the reality is it's already happening. There is a automated cargo boat that just made its first voyage not that long ago. I'm gonna mess up the name, but it's called Yara Birkeland. This was the first fully automated cargo ship that transported goods from one part of the world to the other without any crew members. There is automation happening, artificial intelligence is happening, all these things are gonna continue happening, and you have some people that are just praying that I hope this doesn't happen. And then you have other people that are understanding, how do I win with AI? How do I use AI and technology to better what I do? I want you to be on the winning side of things. And the reality is technology is going to get smarter. AI is going to get faster. It's going to get smarter. And you want to understand, how do you use these technologies to improve what you do? Because those are the people that are going to be able to succeed in the workforce going forward. And this brings me to the topic of how do all these create investment opportunities. And the first thing that I want you to understand, and I know I say this a lot, but it's so important, is you have to understand your strategy. Because the mistake that a lot of people make is they get into the investing game and the first question they ask is, what stock should I buy? And that is the complete wrong question. Because a good investment for one person is going to be a bad investment for somebody else. What is your risk tolerance? What's your time horizon? What's your goal? How do you want to make money? These are the types of questions you want to be asking. And so you want to start by understanding your goal. Do you actually want to be a long-term investor, yes or no? I hope the answer is yes, because I'm not a trader. I don't understand how trading works. That's not what I talk about. Now, if you want to be an investor, how involved do you want to be? Do you want to be in the game of just investing in the economy? Or do you want to try to find the next NVIDIA? Trying to find the next NVIDIA takes more work, it takes more time, it takes more patience, it takes more discipline, and it takes a lot more research. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you got to understand the game. If you just want to invest in the economy, you don't want to worry about having to read financial statements, you don't want to worry about trying to pick the right company, well, there's a lot of easy ways to do that. And the first thing is you got to ignore all the noise. You got to ignore all the emotion. You got to ignore a lot of the media because there's a lot of crap out there. And you just got to invest into the economy because you believe that the American economy is going to grow over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So how do you do that? Well, you can invest into the total stock market. I'm just going to give you a few examples. I can't tell you what to invest in because, of course, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. VTI, that is an ETF that gives you exposure to the total stock market. It's created by Vanguard. So if you just want to invest in the American stock market, VTI gives you exposure to that. If you want to invest into the S&P 500, which is a group of the 500 largest companies in the stock market, SPY, SPY, that's an ETF that gives you exposure to the 500 largest companies in the stock market. If you want to invest in the NASDAQ, well, you can invest in something like QQQ. So there's a lot of different ways to get exposure just into the economy or into a sector of the economy. And now you don't worry about what's happening in the White House. You don't worry about what's happening with AI. You don't worry about what's happening with all these other things. All you do is follow a strategy that I call ABB. Always be buying. You buy every week, every 2 weeks, every month. You set a cadence and you set it and forget it. And the funny thing is I've gotten so many emails of people saying, Jaspreet, I'm following the ABB strategy, but should I be buying during this period under Trump? Should I be buying when markets are high? ABB, the first A stands for always. And the way that you win is you buy every week, every 2 weeks, every month, not for 3 months or 3 years. We're talking about decades. That's how you win because you're getting exposure to the broad economy. Because we're gonna see periods where markets go up, and listen to me carefully here, we're gonna see periods where markets go down as well. Over the last 100 years, the United States economy has seen a number of recessions. Do you wanna guess how many? 16 recessions over the last 100 years. That means we're averaging more than one recession per decade. They are a part of our economic system. And what do you think happens during that recession? Many times markets go down. We have seen about 25 bear markets, meaning down stock markets, over the last 100 years. Market down periods are a part of the economy. You have to anticipate that. So through this ABB strategy, you keep buying when markets are up, you keep buying when markets are booming, you keep buying when markets are going sideways, and you keep buying when markets are going down. You have to understand that because when markets go down, people will panic, people will freak out, and they'll say you should not be buying. But the A in ABB means always be buying. If you believe in the American economy, you always be buying. Now the alternative, like what I talked about just a minute ago, is being more involved. And this is not for everybody, but for the right person, it can create a lot of wealth. It's more risky, meaning you can lose more money faster, but you can also make a lot more money. This is where now you're doing the research to look for, or what I look for, is a market shift. Now again, I can't recommend what I do to anybody else. But what I look for when I look for these market shifts is I look for where the money is moving. I want to know where is the economy shifting to, because you want to buy where the money is moving to, not where it was 5 years ago. And this takes a lot of work and time and research. And this requires you to, number one, understand where is the shift happening. Is it in a certain technology? Is it in a certain thing in technology? For example, artificial intelligence, to invest in AI, is such a broad term. You can invest in companies that are producing AI. You can invest in data centers that are supplying the AI companies. You can invest in the energy companies that are providing energy to the AI data centers. I mean, there are so many different ways to do that. And again, you have to understand that this takes more work and more time, because now you have to spend more time doing the research, because as things change, you want to stay on top of the change and not be investing in a company that's not innovating. And you also now have to do the company level research. That is understanding the financials, studying the 10Ks, studying who the CEO is. Takes more time, takes more effort, but for the right person, it can create a good opportunity. But you got to understand now, if you pick the wrong company, that company can go to zero and now you lose everything. More risk, more potential return. You got to know which game you want to play. Me personally, and again, I don't recommend what I do to anybody else. I do both. I have my passive strategy where I'm investing in the broader economy, and I'm also investing in individual opportunities as well. And you have to find what's right for you. But when you have all these fluctuations happening in our economy, like what we're seeing right now, it does create opportunities. But this is where you have to start thinking like an investor. Most people are not. We're not taught to think like an investor. We're taught to think like a consumer. We hear the news about new AIs and people freak out, it's going to take my job. We hear the news that a stock is falling and we freak out that the stock market's going to crash. That's how we're trained to think. But I want you to start thinking like an investor, because what investors think of is, how does this create an opportunity? Everything creates opportunity. New technologies create opportunities. Market crashes create opportunities. Market booms create opportunities. New regulations create opportunities. Removal of regulations create opportunities. That's the way that financially savvy investors think. Now, I know 2025, the last 2 months have been wild. There's been a lot of changes. And this is one of the reasons why I'm hosting a workshop on March 11th, is to kind of help summarize what's going on. That way you can look at where the opportunities are. So if you want to learn more about that, again, I have the link in the description. But this is where, again, you got to know your game. Because if you're a long-term investor and you're getting caught up in the emotions and now you start day trading, well, you're not an investor. You're getting caught up in the emotions. That's why it's so difficult, is you have to be able to separate the emotion from financials. And it starts with you knowing your strategy. Because there's going to be a lot of news of things that are changing, from technology to government changes. And you want to make sure that you are staying ahead of the curve, not one of the people that are just being manipulated and losing money, making money for everybody else. Because every time you lose money, you allow somebody else to come in and buy a great investment at a discounted price. For every buyer in the stock market, there's a seller. And so you got to know the game, and you have to know your game. That way you can build wealth and not be the person that's just constantly making somebody else rich. So with that, I'm going to end this video right here. I'll see you on YouTube tomorrow, and just make sure you separate the emotions from the financials.